Hi, my name is Mike, and this is the Ultimate Frontline Leadership Training Podcast. Today, I want to talk to you about the two types of managers you'll usually find running, say, a restaurant or a store. You'll generally find people in two different categories. You're going to find them as what I call either babysitters or managers. Let me talk about both of them right here. Now, the babysitter is probably the most common one you're going to find, and it's the one that's most often emulated because if you see a lot of these people around the workplace and you're going to notice, how they're working, and you're going to say, okay, that's a manager, so I'm going to be just like that. So if you have a babysitter on the line someplace, you're going to think that's what a manager is supposed to be, and that's what you're going to emulate, and that's why we have so many of them out there. Now, a babysitter, if you remember anything about, say, school, when you went to school and say if your teacher got sick and they would have a substitute teacher in there, they didn't get a whole lot of respect. They fulfilled the function, they took roll call, they did all the stuff that teachers are supposed to do, but they didn't have an in-depth knowledge of who is who and how they operated, how your study habits were. And so they're not really going to do very much to help you, to educate you. They're just going to babysit. They're just going to make sure that somebody's there to take care of business. And then the next day when the teacher feels better, you're going to come back and everything's going to be all resumed. Well, that's pretty much what the babysitter manager does as well. They'll show up, they have the keys, they got the combinations, they know the company policies, so when a customer complains about something or if they have a request, they'll know whether they can do it or not, and they'll be able to explain it in a professional manner. And that's it. Otherwise, pretty much you're going to find the babysitter manager is going to be pretty much usually in front of the TV hanging out. Sometimes they'll be maybe in a restaurant someplace. There'll be someplace where they can see the whole floor. In a retail environment like a grocery store or something, they'll usually either hang out in the break room or the office. They don't really generally hang out and manage a whole heck of a lot. They got the keys, they know what to do, they can open the unit, they can close it, they can get you cash, they can get you cleaning materials, whatever you need. They got the keys, they have the combinations, but that's about it. And they walk around and say hi to everybody, and there's really no managing going on. And now you would think that, that would be only for temporary managers, but unfortunately it's not. A lot of full-time managers who are there permanently have devolved into this. Either they've noticed that that's the type of manager that they have around, and that's with the job they thought it was, and so that's what they're doing. Irregardless of why they're doing it, that's what they are. And unfortunately, they're not going to give you a whole lot of support. And if you're working for them full time and you're not getting very much support, that means all the chaos that's happening on the floor, because now everybody on the floor is running the department. And since everybody has their own idea of what they should do and how it should be done, it's kind of chaotic. And people pointing fingers all the time, and it's not a fun environment. And if you work in one of those places, you know all about it. Now, the manager, they're the ones, they have the keys, they have everything that the babysitter has, but they actually want to make the unit run well. They want to help their team perform well, make good money, make great products, make the company look good. Their intentions are good, and they want to go out there and do well, and they want the recognition so they can move up in their career. Career-minded managers who work hard and want to get to the next level are often doing this. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of them out there. Now, a good difference between a manager and a babysitter is a manager has a toolbox. A manager can reach in and figure out how to solve a problem because they've seen it before. They've used these techniques. It has worked. They keep them in their toolbox, and whenever that same situation pops up, they know how to handle it. Managers amass a toolbox. Every year, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger of all the things that they can do to help their unit perform and help their team succeed. And this toolbox is really a huge difference between a manager and a babysitter. Babysitters don't really care about toolboxes. They don't want to get their hands dirty. But the manager rolls up their sleeve, whips out their toolbox, and they get to work. So, and this channel here is going to give you many, many tools for your toolbox. So if you want to get tools for your toolbox, you come here and I'll show you about them, because you're not getting very much of this at work. I worked for, after I stopped managing, I wanted to see what the temperature was like in the units, in the industry, without me being the manager, because I have a toolbox and I wasn't getting a lot of these complaints that I was hearing or reading about in the news. So I just wanted to see what was going on. So I worked for 3 of the largest companies in America. And that's where I took my sample from. And I took my sample from Amazon, Walmart, and Costco. And those are 3 large companies, and they have good reputations. And so I became an employee, and I started working for them. And that's where I saw this Babysitters, which was infuriating as all heck. And then I saw a few managers, not very many, but a few. Now, if you want to go someplace that's going to train you, like I'm training you here on the job, I do know of 2 companies that trained me very well. And one of them was in the 80s, though, so whether they're still doing that stuff or not, I don't know. But that was Denny's. Denny's had an excellent training program. I was brand new to management, and they really helped me understand, what was all necessary. And they handed me mentors to work for. Another good company to work if you want to get trained as a manager would be Texas Roadhouse. Texas Roadhouse, when I worked there, I worked at one unit, and it didn't have a single babysitter. I mean, there was not one. Everybody wanted to do a really good job and wanted to perform great. The atmosphere was awesome. I mean, it was just really great. So if you want to be a manager and you want to get trained, I would go to one of those 2 companies for sure. There may be other companies, or maybe even, Denny's, since that was 1980s, maybe that's not a great sample anymore. But, give them a shot. They did have a great training program. It would be sad if they abandoned it. But, if they didn't, that would be a great place to go. One characteristic, I think, of a manager is they make paperwork like graffiti. A professional manager, they do it when nobody's looking. Okay, paperwork doesn't help the customers at all. The paperwork helps you organize things and helps the business flow and helps it work. But you need to do that when you're not needed on the floor, managing people, making sure that they're doing what they need to be doing, talking to customers, taking care of any issues that there may be, doing inspections, making sure that everything is clean and all that type of stuff. That stuff's important. But the number one priority I always focused on was the floor, the customers, the employees. That's where I put all my attention. And when the store emptied out at night, that gave me plenty of time without interruptions to do paperwork. Because I don't know about you, but when you're counting money and you're doing things like that, you get interrupted all the time. Mike, can you open the storeroom? Mike, can you get me some tequila? Mike, blank. It makes counting a little challenging. Let's say your accuracy may be a little bit off when you're getting interrupted all the time. So that's another great reason why you want to do it after everybody leaves. That was a great motivation for me to do it that way. But it did mean I spent an extra probably an hour or 2 at work, more so than the people who were in the office doing their paperwork before they close so they can get out and go home with everybody else. And there's nothing wrong with that. And if you're a good manager and you can do that, that's great. One thing I would recommend, because sometimes you do have to go into the office. I mean, you do need to go count a drawer and bring it on out. And, you need to go into the office and do things sometimes. And I would always try to focus on not being in the office more than 10 minutes. 5 was a goal, but sometimes you don't get a whole lot of stuff done in 5 minutes. So 10, I could stretch it out to 10, but then I start to get nervous. I start to go, God, what's happening on the floor? Is everybody okay? I just felt nervous staying in the office away from the action for too long. And so after a few minutes or whatever, I'd do what I had to do, and then I'd get right back out on the floor again and, say hi. And, it's kind of the most fun part of managing is talking to people and interacting with them and making sure everything's going great. It's a good job. It's a lot of fun to make sure that stuff happens. And if you have a toolbox and you can fix your crew's problems and you can fix the customer's problems, then man, you got a great gig. So it really is a good job if you're well trained. And so if you watch these videos or if you go to a place like Texas Roadhouse or Denny's that has a really good training program, then you can be well taken care of and have a great career. So if you'd like to be a leader And you want to make what you're doing right now, if you're working in retail or if you're working in restaurants or if you're working in the entertainment industry, and you want to have a career, you want to turn this into a more lucrative thing, you want to support a family, you want to start having a family, what have you, then the stores, retail, restaurants, entertainment, those industries are always looking for good leaders because they're far and few between. And so if you prove yourself to be one, you'll have a great job and you'll stay employed for long. The path is obvious, all right? Decide to be great. Follow these videos, practice them, and don't just watch them, but actually put them into practice and go have a great life. Because it's a really fun, challenging, but very fulfilling career. And it will support your family. You'll get medical and dental and all kinds of stuff. Now, obviously, it depends on the company, but that's usually what sets management up separate from employees, is that they're treated a little bit better. They're given 401ks, opportunities. They're giving medical and dental and vacation and all kinds of stuff that you normally don't get as an employee in those industries. If you want this job, they want you. Now, if you're watching these videos, you'll notice I haven't posted very much recently. I'm working on a book. I want to make an instruction manual for people who want to be leaders in these industries. And, how to deal with customers and how to deal with bosses and how to survive in that type of tightrope environment. And I've got a lot of tools in a toolbox to give you. I'm writing this puppy up, and it does slow me down from making videos, but it's going to be awesome. And when I have it done, I'll let you guys know. But until then, watch these videos, work hard, and have a great career. Bye.